Hi there, everyone. It's Friday afternoon. I'm Rachel from Write with Rachel, and instead of our traditional Friday workshop, which is spin the wheel, I thought we would do a chat today. This morning, something came up, and I thought it would be such a great topic of conversation that I thought I would do a chat about it. I am going to see if I can do my first video where I just talk to the camera without doing a bunch of edits. I am working on getting more comfortable showing my face, talking on camera without critiquing how I look or critiquing how I sound. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to me so we can continue to keep learning together. So this morning I received some comments from someone that I've known for about 10 years. The comments I got today, the person said a couple of really unkind things. They felt more like personal attacks instead of valid criticisms. And one of the things that she said really seemed like it was about her opinion of me putting myself out there too much, which is really interesting to me because I almost didn't start this channel. And the reason why is because even though I feel like I have something of value to offer, and I'm really excited about the Write with Rachel channel, the Tilt writing method, and being able to teach other people how to write and engaging all the senses, I was very, very worried about how is I going to look on camera? How is I going to sound on camera? How is I going to be perceived on camera? Well, two things. The first thing that pushed me forward was I decided, okay, I'm not going to go on camera. No one's ever going to see my face. That way, they won't see my wrinkles, they won't see my droopy jaws, they won't see anything from the exterior. I found an AI program and I was like, oh, I can record my sessions. I can take my creaky, imperfect voice. I can put it through a voice AI that sounds like me. And then I'll have, a Rachel sounding voice that's just a little bit smoother. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, I can do those things. And then as I thought about it, I thought, well, that's kind of taking the me out of the work I'm doing. And the work I'm doing, it's 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 me. It's my handwriting, it's my ideas, I'm the one who's teaching it. And I just thought, the right people will find me. If my voice bothers people, those won't be my people. If my wrinkles and my droopy jaws bother people, then those won't be my people either. But one day my therapist said to me, because I was telling her once again, the one thing that's holding me back from doing what I really want to do is I am so worried about what other people will think about me. It's really holding me back and it's held me back from doing so many things in my life. And then I had this aha moment with her, and I realized that what other people think about me, it's not about me, it's about them. So this morning, when I got that email from my former colleague, and when she said these things to me, it wasn't about me. I really want you to stop for a minute and write down all of the reasons that you might be worried or afraid or fearful to share your writing with someone else. Let's just pretend this is not the word that was used, but let's just say that today my friend said that I was an embarrassment. Okay. Well, she wanted to tell me that I should know that I'm an embarrassment. Well, what does that mean? That means she thinks she's an embarrassment. Okay. You know, that almost makes me feel compassionate towards her. Why does she think that? Like, who in her life told her that? You know, that must be tough for her to carry that around, thinking that she's an embarrassment, living her life as if she's an embarrassment, like always having to like be so careful to like not do something embarrassing or say something embarrassing. And thinking of it that way, it just really helps that go. So instead of ruminating about it in my own head and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm an embarrassment. She said I'm an embarrassment. She said this. She said that. I must be this. I must be that. Who else thinks this? Who else thinks that? It's like, take a deep breath, let it out. She said I'm an embarrassment. Oh, wait, pause. That's not about me. That's about her. Oh, what does that mean for her? I think you'll see that that's very freeing. So let's circle back. Sorry for the corporate term, but let's circle back to the thought I wanted to bring us to in this conversation today. And that is, I really want you to think about what is holding you back from sharing your writing or anything else with other people in your life. And if you're holding back because you're worried about what they might think about you, what they might say to you, what words they might email to you, I hope you'll consider the thought that my therapist gave to me and maybe journal about it. I've been drawing about it. I like to draw as well as a journal. Maybe journal about it. Journal about this idea that what other people say about you, it's not about you, it's about them. And I know I'm pointing at me. Let's try that again. What other people say about you, it's not about you, it's about them. Now, as a professional writer, you can imagine that I've gotten many critiques over the years. And when I've written nonfiction, those critiques are usually very easy to take. A lot of times they just make my work better. So if you're a nonfiction writer and you get critiques, I would say that unless the critiques are given in a mean-spirited way, don't worry too much about them. They're probably going to actually make your work better. So listen to what the person has to say, evaluate it, see if it makes sense. And my philosophy when I was mentoring a team of writers was always take what works and leave the rest. Now, sometimes there might be a legal reason why you have to take or make an edit. For example, one time in a former job, when I was working for a health and wellness company, we had one of our overeager marketing managers saying, oh, this product we have is so great. You can add it to your toothpaste and then you can swallow the toothpaste Well, we didn't want to encourage people to swallow the toothpaste, so she might give me a 1-star review and say she hates my book, and there you go, 1-star review. So that can feel a little bit tougher to take. Now let's talk about writing fiction. So for me, fiction is a lot different. Fiction is really so much more subjective. The reader is reading from their perspective. They're reading from the perspective of what they like to read. They're reading from the perspective of their background. So let's say, for example, I write a short story and it takes place in a universe 50 years from now. And then let's say a reader comes along and she likes to read psychological thrillers that take place in today's world. Well, she's going to read my short story and she's just going to think, this doesn't make any sense. I don't like all these talking robots. Like, this is really weird. And she might hate it. Also, if you write fiction, it can also be a little bit hard to take sometimes. When you write a book, you publish it and you put it on Amazon and you get a 1 or 2-star review, but there's no comments. And I know this because last year I ghost wrote 6 books. I ghost wrote 6 novels. I published them under the name of a different author, and most of the books were just kind of like just went under the radar. One of the books got pretty popular. I think I sold about 50 copies of that one. And the reviews on that one were either like, oh, I really loved it, or oh, I really hated it. And the thing for that book was that I had some 1-star reviews with no comments. But the thing is that the 1-star reviews with comments, they actually really helped me because some of those 1-star reviews with comments, those people cared enough to actually say, there were these spelling mistakes in this book. There was this logic mistake in this book. There was this character that she named this in one section and this in another section. And those reviews, I actually went back and looked at my manuscript and I actually went back and fixed them, which I think to help make a better experience for people that read the book in the future. Now you may be thinking, okay, Rachel, you've been telling us, well, I was a magazine columnist and I was a book writer and I was a book editor and all of these things. How could you write and self-publish a book and there's still mistakes in it? And the thing is that when you edit your own work, you're so close to it that you might miss things that you would easily see if it was someone else's book or novel when you get feedback on what you've written. There's solicited feedback and there's unsolicited feedback, and I think it's very important to know the difference between the two. If you are soliciting feedback on your stories, you can also ask for different types of feedback. You can ask questions and say, I would like your feedback on X, Y, Z. Sometimes if you just say something like, oh, what did you think of my story? Someone might just be like, oh, it was good. But if you say, oh, what did you think about this section where they were all stuck on the airplane? Do you think they should have gone off the airplane in a different way? You can see where that feedback might be a little bit different. So I would say when you're looking for feedback on your work, on your stories, that it's really important to think about what kind of feedback do you want. And one other thing I'd like to say is also consider the source of your feedback. Are you asking the right people for feedback? Let's say that you've just written a short story and you want some feedback. So if you go and you ask your little brother who hates to read and wants to spend all of his time playing video games, he's probably going to not read it. So he's probably not going to be a good critic. If you ask your boyfriend, who also doesn't like to read, he's probably just going to be kind of like, oh yeah, it was great, loved it, babe. If you ask, me to read it, if it's, under 300 words, I might read it, but I would still need you to give me a direction. Just make sure that if you're asking for feedback, make sure you're asking someone who can give you the type of feedback that you need and know what kind of feedback you want. Do you want feedback to make the story better? Are you trying to make the story, when you say better, what do you mean by that? Are you trying to make the story more engaging? Are you trying to fix a logic problem in your story? Are you trying to fix a grammatical error in your story? Like, really think about, what feedback do I want? I know sometimes in today's world, it might seem like it's more difficult to take that critical feedback from a person, because I think some of us have gotten really used to taking that critical feedback from AI. When ChatGPT says, well, here you go, I've restructured it like this for you, it might not sting at all. After all, it's just a machine. But if your colleague is also your good friend and she says, well, I don't know, I don't know if this sentence makes any sense, or I would reword it like this, maybe it stings a little bit more. But again, if you're writing nonfiction, I would say consider the remarks, see if you can use them to make your writing better. I don't usually do long videos, not yet. This will probably be my longest one yet. If you have more questions for me, I would love to answer them. As I've said in other videos, I have been a writer for my whole career. I worked as a magazine editor, I worked as a book editor, I worked as an editor-in-chief of both magazines and newsletters. Anything I can do to help you, to answer your questions about what it's like to be in a writing career, how to get started, how to move from one career into a writing field, let me know. I'd love to answer those questions for you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to me do a Rachel style ramble, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.